This Wild Sips is brought to you by Select Wines.
Welcome, friends, to Wild Sips. I have my wonderful, beautiful friend Erin here joining me today. And Erin, today I'm making bear tacos with a corn salsa.
That's exciting.
And I'm doing a bourbon blueberry glaze.
Get out of here.
On the bear, and then I'm gonna braise that. So really excited to hear your response to this, because since I'm already using alcohol in the preparation of my meat, what would you recommend that would be an added profile, flavor profile to that, rather than something that would compete with the bourbon?
You know, that's actually a really, really smart thing to think about. I'm actually really happy that you asked that. A lot of people won't take that into consideration. But what we're going to look for in the glaze is not necessarily the alcohol, because most of that will burn off during the cooking process.
True.
What we're going to look for is the flavor that that bourbon will leave behind. Yeah. And if you think about the general characteristics of bourbon, we're going to talk about a lot of that white char American oak. So it's going to be the vanilla, the caramel, the toffee. That's why people love bourbons so much. There's a real warmth.
Yes.
And so that's what we're going to look for. And so when we're going to be pairing food and wine, most of the time, all of the time, you're not going to be pairing it with the star of the show, which is generally almost always the protein.
Right.
People come home and they'll say, what are you having for dinner? Chicken, beef, or steak, or chicken, beef, or fish, or chicken, beef, or pasta, or whatever. Well, okay, that's fine, but are we talking about beef as in beef tacos? Or in our case, bear tacos? Or are we talking about, a beef stew? Well, there's different elements, so we're usually looking to pair wines to those spices, to those sauces. You almost want to pair wine like another condiment.
Oh, you're making me salivate already. I'm like, I'm just thinking about the creation coming forth, so.
When we're thinking about that, because we've got this bear taco, and the bear is going to be, if I'm not mistaken, braised for a really long time. It comes from the shins, so it's going to be that tougher cut that's really softened up.
You know it.
Okay, great. So what we're going to use in this case is we've got our old friend Cabernet Sauvignon. One of my favorite grapes. This one's from California. This is called Three Finger Jack, is the winery that it comes from. It is from Lodi, California.
Okay.
So sort of more in that central area. And what we have here, well, let's just try it first. Now, look at this color. Check this out.
Oh, that's
Is that
rich? That's
Isn't
deep.
that beautiful? I mean, that makes you think of blueberry right there.
Absolutely,
that's sort of
it
like
does.
a beautiful blueberry purple color. It's showing its youth. It's showing its vibrancy. And so this is what we're going to look for. On the nose, we do have some of that dark fruit, that blueberry, black cherry coming through. But we also get a little bit of that American and French oak. So this has been aged in a combination of American and French oak. What does that matter to you? Let me tell you. I'm glad you asked, Lindsay. So American oak, which is what we will find bourbon uses.
Okay.
American oak, believe it or not, will actually leave impressions of those sort of gastronomic spices, those baking spices, those vanillas, those toffees, those cinnamons, those espressos, all of those things. French oak leaves a little bit more of an impression of smoke, wood, camp smoke, fire, that kind of note. Forest, those kinds of notes. When you nose this, we do get a little bit more of that blend. So you can smell a little bit of that nice smoke underneath, but you can also smell that almost like vanilla extract as well, that's mixing in with those fruits for this really enticing and alluring nose.
Wow, and I'm really glad that I'm friends with you, because to the average bloke like myself, I would not think those things. Like I would think, oh, that smells really yummy. And maybe I would think, okay, is it strong? Is it, fruitier? Is it whatnot? But the way you're describing it, I really appreciate, because it adds that like depth of knowledge that I wouldn't have known before.
That's why I'm here.
Yay for you.
That's why I'm here.
Really yay for me.
So, yeah, let's give this a sip.
Oh, that's smooth. It's like my whole mouth. All of my mouth tasted that.
It's engaging all of your senses, right? So we've got that tactile sensation. We've got some vibrancy, once again, from the acid. That's that mouth-watering effect. We do have a really nice presence of tannin here. And here's why I like that. We're using bear, which is typically, let's call it a more rustic meat. Let's call it a more, let's leave it at that. Like a little bit more rustic, a little bit fattier, a little bit richer, especially because we're using that tougher cut that's going to be braised. We want those nice tannins that are going to complement and work well, like a sexy dance partner with the proteins in that meat. So you've got a really fatty, and I hate to say that because I know I don't want to use the F word, but we've got that fatty cut, we've got that protein.
We like fat on the show.
Okay, great. I'm a big fan myself. So we've got that fatty, protein-dense cut. What it needs a good dance partner to stand up to it, right?
Yes.
So when we have a nice wine with a bit of boldness and a lot of tannin and full-bodied, that tannin latches onto that protein and kind of does this sort of sexy tango, where then as well that protein and that fat calm the tannin in the wine. So it works out really, really well. It's a classic pairing when we get richer, full-bodied reds and those braised, richer meats.
Oh,
Classic.
that sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
And I can just envision our taste buds also joining the dance and enjoying those flavors as they combine
It's quite romantic.
in the sexy tango, if you will.
Yeah, the sexy taco tango. That sounded weird.
Let's drink to that.
Yeah.
I like that. Taco tango.
Okay, that's a thing.